Really excited that game week's here. It's obviously a lot of work goes into getting to this point, but when you finally know that this Saturday will be real, it's just it's that time that we got to find out what the reveal party shows of who we are, and so this is exciting. I think our kids are ready. I think our staff's ready, and excited about getting into a normal week, and really excited about my first experience running out in Jordan-Hare Stadium. I think that's going to be phenomenal and exciting, and I've got more family coming than ever before, I think, and it's just it's going to be a magical experience, I know, in that stadium, provided that we play well. And that's the pressure or the anxiousness that you feel sitting in this chair, is just wanting to deliver. The incredible fan base we have has welcomed us so much and bought season tickets, and we've expanded the stadium size, and there will be a capacity for Saturday, and you hear all those things and you just so badly want to to deliver, and so hopefully we'll play well. But no question that we're extremely excited to kick off the 23 campaign this Saturday.
Raise your hand. We'll get front.
Coach, you guys spend about 1,000 hours every offseason preparing for what is ultimately 40 hours of football every fall. What have you told your team about the mental preparation for the game this week, and how to prepare mentally for what they're going to face on Saturday?
Well, that's something we've tried to start instilling when we got here. Our theme since we've been here has been flip the script, and it's really about rewiring your mind of how you prepare for these 12 opportunities that we're given. And it's something that has to be done daily, that your whatever is driving your beliefs are going to drive some type of behavior, and that behavior is going to create some habits, and that habits will ultimately give us all our destiny. And the more of those days that we stack, that we're doing things the right way, with the right attitude and with the right passion, then the more prepared we'll be. And I think we're still ongoing in that. That's still a journey, and it will be throughout this season. And to this point, I think we've made progress and made strides in the right direction, and hopefully that shows on Saturday.
Front row, Jeff.
Yeah. Hey, Hugh, question. You said on Tiger Talk that your run game has been very healthy, been running well. Is that a good thing about the run game, or are you concerned about the run defense?
You just said it. I don't know. I honestly don't. I mean, I don't know. We'll find out more Saturday. Are we an effective running the football team against other opponents? Or has our defense made us look that good? And hopefully, I think when you start getting into a game week and you start game planning and you figure out this is what we're going to try to do, hopefully, we'll be in the right spots and play well on both sides. That's the hope.
The right side, Bill.
Are there any players won't be able to go this weekend?
Right now, I would say J.D. Rhymes questionable, Nick Martiner, Jalen McLeod, Nehemiah Pritchett's I think will go. Robbie Ashford's dealing with an oblique strain, but I think he'll go too. It wouldn't shock me if all of those went, truthfully, but it really wouldn't shock me if a few didn't make it either. But our list is pretty short, and hopefully all of them will make progress this week and be able to go.
Left third row.
Now that you've had these weeks of fall camp to get all of these new faces involved, heading into that first game, how do you now put some of that puzzle together of all these new pieces into the game itself?
Well, we're going to play all those pieces that have earned the right for that opportunity, and then what they do with that opportunity will determine how big of a piece of the puzzle they are. It's pretty simple. they go out there and they rush for 150 yards, they're probably gonna get some more carries. If you go out there and you complete a high percentage of your passes, you're probably gonna get more opportunities. And same thing with every position that we'll grade out. I'll get the grade Sunday, and the guys that did it really well will continue to get those opportunities.
Back middle.
Coach, looking at the depth chart for the first time at the receiver spot with Shorter, Kelly, Johnson, and Hooks, was that those guys separating themselves in the wide receiver room, or was it more on injuries that we know they dealt with this fall?
I'm gonna be totally candid with you. I don't even have a depth chart, so I don't know where that came from. I guess that's from the SID world. I don't do depth charts, so yeah, I just don't. It's really nonsense. I mean, you're gonna play your 4 to 5 outside receivers and your 2 or 3 inside receivers in our system, and I don't care who runs out there with the first group or the second group. They freely rotate, so I don't make much of those depth charts. And I don't know who you said, but if you're talking about the outside guys, I would think you're going to see a rotation of Shorter and Malcolm and Hooks and O and Camden Brown. I would think those would be the 5 guys that are going to get the first rotations at that spot.
Got two.
But I in no way said that one of them was first team and one of them was second team. I just that don't fly with me. Doesn't work.
Got 2 in the back row.
Coach, UMass comes in, a lot of preseason polls had them dead last in FBS rank. They scored 41 points out of New Mexico State. Don Brown's had a good track record over the years of being a good defensive coach. What problems may they present, and how do you guard your team over confidence, considering that they weren't ranked very high into the year?
Well, I've played him every year, the last 4 years, and I saw drastic improvement last year under Coach Brown. I have great respect for him. I think he's one of the best defensive play callers in the country. Last year, their record was atrocious, and they had a top 10 defense in the country. So now I think they've added 27 transfers, most from Power 5 schools. I thought they looked quite different. And New Mexico State's not an easy place to go play, and I thought they took care of the football. They didn't turn it over. They got turnovers. They capitalized on turnovers. They threw the ball effectively, which they have not done in the 4 years that I played them. And I think defensively they play as hard as any team in the country. And you combine that with Coach Brown's system, which is very chaotic and very hard to identify for your offensive front at times. They will create negative plays with that. And that was a big challenge for us last year when we played them up at UMass. They created a lot of negative plays against us. We managed to score enough points to win the game, but it was a challenge. And so they have our full attention. I mean, if you look at them defensively, obviously Don is pretty special I mean, he's been one of the best at Michigan and Arizona and many other places, but 48 jumps off the page at you, as does 1 and 7. They could play at any Power 5 schools. Those guys are really, really good. And really, again, chaotic in their defensive front when they're mixing it up with all their 3 down and 4 down. I think they're deeper than they've been and better in the secondary. And then offensively, the quarterback makes a huge difference. I won't try to pronounce his last name, but number 3, Tayson, I think is his first name. But the running back 15 is really, really good, and Simpson and Johnson, those 2 transfer receivers, I think are really talented and explosive. So we've got our hands full. I believe that. It will not be an easy opener, and one that's going to challenge us.
Do you want to stand in the back? Go ahead. Okay.
Hi, Coach. So, you've coached in these environments here in the SEC before, but returning to it, we always get to know, players' emotions heading into a big game in that environment. But I'm curious, from your perspective, how do you get yourself prepared for the atmosphere, and do you take a moment and kind of soak that in, especially now making this return?
You know, I really haven't thought about that a lot. You know, I soak in every game pretty much. You know, I mean, we've played in, even at Liberty, we played in SEC arenas, and those are always fun to play in, and I embrace those opportunities. I think that the most exciting thing with me would just be taking in what I consider to be one of the best home atmospheres in college football, and I don't know that I've had that. No offense to any other places that I've been, but I don't think I've ever been at a place that that has quite the enthusiasm and passion and energy that I think Jordan-Hare is going to have, and so I will take a moment to take that in.
Front, left, Brian.
Oh, and
I'm trying another one. Tell me what your favorite thing is about what Payton's done during this camp, the first day until today, just what you really like from him.
His attention to every little thing. You know, he's got an advantage that he's in grad school and he has a lot of time. And so it's important to him, and he's constantly studying. And I sure hope that translates into his decision making come Saturday, now that we're not just running stuff against a defense that we don't really know what they're doing. Now you honestly get the game plan to say, now Payton, I would expect you to see this and get it right, and he takes great pride in that. So I think it's that's probably been the most impressive thing, is just he wants to have the mental part of the game plan totally down.
Front, right. So,
When we talked to Cadillac earlier this month, he was talking about how he thought that this was the deepest running back room he's had since he's been here. Is how much do you like leaning on the fact that you got multiple guys, not just maybe one or two that can give y'all good carries?
Well, the facts are, if you're able to run the ball, you can shorten the game, and I think that may be advantageous to us this year. And so, are we good enough in the O-line, tight ends, and running back room to do that in a league that has tremendous defensive linemen? I don't know yet, but I do think that our running back room is very solid top to bottom, and we're going to lean on them heavily.
second row.
obviously, you know, the first thing is a win, but what are some of the other type of things that you're looking for on Saturday that you really like to see?
Well, you would like to, even though it's game one, you would like for it to be clean, that we're not having pre-snap penalties or turning the ball over, any foolish penalties, and you'd like to see them play with great passion. So those would be the things that, you know, obviously you want to win the game and you want to look good, but that's always a fear I guess you have of, you're not quite sure how a new team that we've, you know, piecemealed together ever since we've been here, and now they're fixing to get out there in front of 88,000 and a loud crowd, and, you know, how will we handle all of our emotions, and does it cause us to have a foolish penalty here or there, things like that you can't do and win games. And so just hope it's a clean game for us.
Front row.
Hugh, obviously, you know, go back to UMass, them playing in week 0, you guys already having some tape. Do you think that's maybe a significant advantage? Is that maybe something that's not super important? I guess, how do you feel now with having some tape on them and them not having any on you guys?
It definitely helped to, they're quite different on offense than they've been in the past. So defensively it's the same that I've faced, but offensively they're quite different. And you kind of wish you had even more of a sample size, but it's no question that with everything I saw them do with their motions and shifts and their RPOs, and you know that they have more to do with that than just what they showed. And so I think they're very similar to us, truthfully, now. And there's a lot of options, and this quarterback, you've got to be aware of him, both running and passing. So it was quite different. So I think it was helpful.
Back right, please.
What have you seen from Amari Gilling in this camp, and how much has he maybe progressing since the spring?
Love his energy. Love the way he practices. Love the juice he brings to the field. Just getting him, not just him, the biggest struggle with the receivers is getting them to play with the same tempo on every single route and every single play. They don't know when it's coming to them half the take too many plays off. I think we've gotten him better with that, and we need to see continued improvement, but real curious to see how we do in the game. But O has improved each week.
Got one back there.
On special teams, how much of a weapon is that going to be with McPherson kicking the ball and then senior Chapman punting the ball? How much of a weapon for you against UMass and then for 2023 with special teams?
Well, I don't want to. I'm more excited about that than I have been ever before coaching. Probably, I think we got two special guys there, and I hope I don't jinx them. But to this point, I have been incredibly pleased with both of them, and I think they're weapons that are going to be very, very huge for us.
Got two on the front left.
Coach, you said this spring that you felt like the development of the offense that you and Philip Montgomery were coming up with, nobody knowing what it was a significant advantage. You know, what can fans expect in terms of offensive identity this season and how Auburn is going to run the football and pass the football?
Well, I'm never going to change what I believe in, and I believe you have to be a threat to run the football. But I also believe that a throw off of a run is a run. And so, you know, I may come in here after a game and you guys say, man, Coach, you only rushed for 90 yards, but you threw for 400. You know, to me, I want to know what the average per carry was, if that makes sense. Because you don't know it, but probably 15 of those passes were runs, but the defense had an extra half. And so I don't think that's real smart football, to constantly run into an extra guy in the box. And so to me, those are kind of rushing yards. So I think you have to be a threat to run the ball. You can't be one-dimensional, so you have to stay balanced. And balance doesn't always show on the stat sheet to me, but it does when I go and look and say, all right, these 10 runs we threw for 100 yards on them. Then I know, but I really want to know what that average per carry was when we did hand it off, because it usually tells me we're making the right decision and we're handing it into good boxes. And if we're constantly making a wrong decision and handing it into a bad box, that average is probably going to go down.
Stay on the front row, Brian.
Yes, Griffin Speaks, local kid, Baylor transfer. What do you see from him allowing him to be in the rotation, potential at safety and special teams?
I think he's got a shot to be in rotation this Saturday. And what happens from that point on, I know he's on some special teams, and I think he'll get a shot to get some reps as a backup safety too, and we'll see how he performs.
What's he sort of showed you so far?
In the right spot at the right time, knows the system, gets the checks. So I think, wish he were a little bigger and faster, but he's going to be in the right spot, and he's not afraid of contact, and so I think he can get everybody on the right page back there.
We got two more. Front right.
Particularly if you're playing all those young ones around him.
You've mentioned him a few times already, but Don Brown's had this legendary career on defense. What makes him man, his defense is so good since you faced him, several times now.
Yeah, he gave me fits last year, and I've watched that game a lot of times, and we scored 42 points, but it felt like it was 12. It was hard. But he mixes it up between even and odd, and then when he gets in his odd, he's going to have these spinner backs, and you never know where they are, and it's just hard to identify for your O-line exactly, what the combinations need to go to in the run game and in the pass pro. And so we've got a lot of studying more to do today to make sure we're as good. But there's going to be some negative plays. The whole deal is trying to confuse the O-line, and they're effective with that. We just got to make sure that they're effective with that at a small percentage.
Last one.
You go back to Payton. I guess how do you, maybe simplify is not the right word, but when you have a first game with a new quarterback, how do you sort of maybe ease him into that while still keep making sure you guys have a dynamic passing game?
Yeah, you would like to. I've always felt like I would like to start a few games with some simple completions for him, This is a little harder to do because of their trap coverage. You're a little nervous to work too much quick game right off the bat, because I mean, they did a beautiful job, and they run it a little different than a lot of people, but in their trap coverage, they had a pick six the other night. They got 3 turnovers, which resulted in 21 points. One was a pick six off of that trap coverage, and they really did a nice job of deceiving the quarterback. So you got to be careful. What I would like to do is throw a quick hitch or two every now and then, but they don't really give you that opportunity. So Payton's going to have to take what they give and throw the passes and complete the ones that work against this scheme.
All right, Coach.